in studio this morning, finally able to respond to criticism and threats by John Cleese, the Brisbane creator of the global success that is the Fawlty Towers dining experience. Now, just before Easter, whilst in Australia performing with fellow Monty Python star Eric Idle, John Cleese ripped into Alison Pollard-Mansergh's theatre restaurant show, accusing her and her company of not paying him and co-creator Connie Booth to use the characters he created for the Fawlty Towers TV show. He tweeted things like, "Seems they thought that by not asking and by changing the W to a U, they'd be in the clear." And when someone tweeted back to say that the Fawlty Towers dining experience was excellent, John Cleese replied saying that he didn't disagree with that. He'd never heard anything bad about the show. Quote, "They started with a lot of advantages. The basic concept, 40 years of unpaid publicity, the characters' personalities, the characters' names, the dialogue, 12 funny episodes to which they make reference, all the catchphrases, without the need to pay Connie Booth and me a single cent." At the time, despite repeated attempts, we couldn't get Alison Pollard-Mansergh to respond. This morning, she is ready to. She's just flown home to Brisbane. Welcome home.
Hi, yes. 10:30 last night I landed.
Well, thank you for getting in touch, reaching out and saying you are ready. Now, I've got a lot of questions to ask you. Are you ready for the cross-examination? This might start to feel like an onslaught of questions, but there are a lot of important and subtle aspects.
Yes,
there
are.
First of all, just give us a sense of the scale of your production these days. From humble beginnings in Brisbane in 1997, how many countries do you tour and how many different cast at any one time?
We currently have 10 teams of Fawlty Towers performers, and we work on average in 20 to 25 countries per year. So it's completely constantly busy.
And you have a permanent residency at a hotel in London?
We do. We have a residency that works 6 shows per week right in the heart of London, Charing Cross, and we have an overflow venue also because it fills up so regularly.
And you have plans to do the same in New York?
Correct, next year.
Let's go back to 1997. What did you do to cover yourselves back then against any potential later claims of copyright infringement?
Well, initially, we just sort of thought this was going to be something that didn't last very long at all. We just were doing it really because I was out of work. We then discovered that we realised it was going to be bigger than lasting for 6 months. So we actually contacted the then management of John Cleese. And in a phone call late one night, Australian time, we discussed the fact that, this is what we're doing, this is what we want to do. And basically the answer was there is no licence for that sort of thing. You just good luck with your show.
Did you get that in writing?
No, because it was a phone call.
You regret not getting that in
well,
writing
yes, but who thought 20 years later that you'd be, relying on that?
What other contact have you had with Cleese's management over the years?
Well, we've contacted numerous times the former management. Management has now changed, and finally, last year, we managed to get sit-down meetings with the management to discuss becoming the official tribute show, which is all I've ever wanted right from the word go. So we finally sat down, and I went to the UK, sat down in offices, and it was very nerve-wracking, actually.
But that was not to make it all legal, because
No.
you, as you'll explain in a sec, that you believe that you are, but instead just to have those extra words on the posters?
Yeah, to be able to say that we are officially recognised by Cleese, Booth and management. At the moment, all of our, everything says on our website, everything, our disclaimers are that we have no connection to John Cleese, Connie Booth, the BBC, but we wanted to be able to say that we are connected.
Has John Cleese actually trademarked the name Fawlty Towers?
No, the BBC owns the trademark of Fawlty Towers in the UK, and in Australia, my company owns the trademark of Fawlty Towers, the dining experience.
What about the characters, the themes and the concepts? Can they be copyrighted?
No. You can't copyright anything that's not actually script. So they've written 12 scripts, television scripts, and were paid by the BBC to write them. And they are the only things that are copywritten.
And who owns the copyright?
Well,
that would be shared with that's of the scripts we're talking about.
Of those scripts, it's actually uncertain.
Okay, but that's not necessarily important. How much of the scripts do you use?
We use basically none. We use characters, and we'll use, for example, Manuel says "que," Sybil says, "Oh, I know," and those sorts of things. So it's not the copyright law, and I've been schooled very much in this now, is if you take the absolute plot line of the story. Now, there are 12 individual storylines, and we don't use any of those storylines. We use tiny, tiny words, and like if an audience member improvises with us, we'll respond back, but it's not our script.
So if your legal advice is correct, John Cleese has no claim on you. Not even the trademark of Fawlty Towers. That's actually the BBC, not John Cleese himself. And he gave the impression very much that he was the victim of what you've been doing.
Well, what we hope is right. I mean, this is the advice that we've had all along. Is that we have been doing the right thing, and that we are not breaching any copyright, and that the way that we've gone to protect ourselves is actually to protect ourselves against many the other tribute shows that are out there, and there are many, many other tribute shows out there that do the same sort of thing.
So you're concerned that they will copy you, and you've taken steps to protect what you do from other groups doing what you do.
We are very, very, very successful, and there's no doubt about that. And we've had some other tribute shows that have used our images, they've used our press material, they've used even our reviews from Edinburgh. So that's why we protect ourselves, and we are legally entitled to.
Has John Cleese launched any action against you? He told Fairfax in March he was considering pursuing legal action, has he?
No, he hasn't.
Have you contacted him or his management with your legal advice? Like, would you do that now, or do you just keep quiet when someone's making legal threats in the media?
No, what we did immediately, because I was flabbergasted actually, because we had sat down and offers had been on the table in November of last year, and so when all of this happened, I was flabbergasted, and so we immediately contacted our lawyers and said, "What is going on? We've got to find out from his management," because we'd only just been talking with them.
And have you heard anything since March from his management?
Nothing.
To a lay person, and clearly to a lot of John Cleese's fans who raced in to back him up on social media, you are making money off someone else's creation. Can you see how it might look like that?
Of course. And that's why we wanted right from the word go. Once we realised in 1997 that this wasn't just a fly-by-night thing, this was something that was going to last, that's why we started contacting them. And I'm a very determined person. And I sort of felt, well, there's going to come a time when we're going to be big enough that they're going to take notice. And I thought that time would be in 2008. Since we've been very, very big in the UK and in Europe, we've been making constant contact with his ex-management. His management has now changed, and we finally got the opportunity to sit down with them last year.
Have you made any attempts to offer... You say your legal advice is you don't need to, but offer what we might call a goodwill fee or something like that?
Yes, we sat down with the management and made an on-paper, on-the-table offer.
And that would be part of becoming the official
to become the official tribute show, because there is no copyright, so therefore there is no royalty.
In the studio this morning is Alison Pollard-Mansergh, who started the Fawlty Towers dining experience in Brisbane in 1997, finally responding to John Cleese's spray, the vitriol, and from his fans just before Easter. How much do you think the timing of the attack was linked to John Cleese creating his own live stage show of Fawlty Towers? I mean, he said as much, didn't he, that he didn't want there to be confusion. Oh,
absolutely, and I can understand that too. But the more and more that it went on, it was it became a little bit more obvious that it was for promotion for his show.
You said that you own the trademark to Fawlty Towers in Australia. Could you, to the words, the name, could you stop him putting on his show?
I couldn't stop him putting on his show. If I wanted to, I could do something about the name, but I wouldn't.
So you could actually stop John Cleese using the name Fawlty Towers in Australia?
Yes, but that's not what I trademarked it for. I trademarked it for the tributes,
Why didn't you say all this 2 months ago when we first contacted you?
I was incredibly confused because of the fact that we had sat down, because there had been offers on the table, because we had been in that, place where I thought, right, finally, we're actually going to be recognised. We can get towards this. And all of a sudden he's saying that he'd never heard of us, which was part of the Twitter thing. And I really thought, well, maybe he's got us confused and doesn't realise we are the same company. So I wanted to get legal advice before I did anything.
Have you received threatening phone calls or hate mail or anything like that?
Yes, lots. It was very disturbing.
So did you have any moments where you thought, stuff the lot of you, let's just stop this show and walk away? No, because I've lived through a lot of things in my life, and I knew that there would come a time when, like today, I can actually speak with legal advice. I've done all the right things. My lawyer's happy with the fact that we've gone back to the management and said, look, don't you remember when we sat down in November? So it's been a bit of a process. But finally, I think people are starting to understand the truth. Has this impacted your sales or helped?
Bit of both. There are loads and loads of people in the world that know about us now that didn't before. Are
you doing this now this morning because you have shows coming up here?
No, I've got another show touring at the moment, but not Fawlty Towers. Yeah.
Anything else you want to say while we have you here?
I love the building, and thanks a lot for having me on. And it's great to see you. You're looking fabulous.
Thank you. And I pointed this out last time that we had you in when we were in Toowong. The topic was probably a little bit less serious. I love how there is so much Sybil that does come through. I hope I won't get you in more trouble saying that, but a couple of times, there it is. Alison, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you,
and
Spencer.
Laying it all out for us. Alison Pollard-Mansergh, who in 1997 started the Fawlty Towers dining experience, responding finally to what John Cleese had to say back in March. A response has been sought from John Cleese and or his management, and as of now, there has been none so far. But if John Cleese chooses to come on to respond, you're more than welcome, sir, if you'd like to do that.